Report design is one of the core skills needed as a data analyst, where you need to know how to design a report and make it more interactive for your users. On this course, we're building on our previous course, which is reports in Power BI, where we actually learned about the difference between report and dashboard in Power BI. You can catch those lessons on the live stream tab on the channel. So on today's live stream, we'll be starting a new course called Report Design in Power BI, where we learn about how to make our reports behave more like a web application using the Power BI features within the Power BI interface. So welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Excel Island, where the goal and objective is to learn and master the Microsoft Power BI tool over the next 100 days. And today is day 60. We are actually like 83% throughout the whole career track, which is the data analyst in Power BI career track on the DataCamp platform. We are on the 14th course out of 17 courses, which is report design in Power BI. So the good news is that this particular course actually contains just three chapters. So the first chapter today will be looking at progressive disclosure, which is a UX technique used to make your report experience, your reports behave more like a web application rather than just a bunch of charts on the reports on the Power BI canvas. So welcome back to the channel. So also all data set exercise files or Power BI files that I'll be using to learn and consume a couple of 100 days is already linked under the YouTube description. Do make sure to download those files and practice along with me. So without any other delay, let's jump back to learning and welcome to day 60 of the Power BI journey. So I'll just go under the career tag section here on the DataCamp platform just to show you what our learning journey has been like. So if I click on the data analysis in Power BI section, you can see we are 83% throughout the whole career track, and we've been doing that consistently over the last 59 days, and today is day 16. The goal is 100 days, and we may likely complete the career track before we hit the mark, the 100-day mark. Probably I'll just look for reports. I'll just build portfolios in Power BI for the remainder of the 100 days. So if I click on data analysis in Power BI, so before we actually started learning this form way of learning, I actually started with the data analysis in SQL career track, and we actually completed that for 100-day period. Also, that was much intense than the Power BI application. So if we finish this data analysis in Power BI career track, the next challenge is the data analysis with career track. So we'll be doing that for a 100-day period also. So do want to support the channel right now by hitting that subscribe button and put on the notification bell so you'll be the first to know whenever I go live or drop in new contents on the channel, so you can learn from my experience. If I click on data analysis in Power BI real quick, you could see the O, which is 17 courses estimated for 48 hours. I've actually started from introduction to Power BI all the way down to this report design in Power BI. We have two more, we're actually on the 15th course. So we have two more courses to complete the whole career track. And within the whole learning journey, we've built, we've practiced, or learned, we did a case study rather. So we did a couple of case study, which is this analyzing customer churn in Power BI and this HR analytics in Power BI. I also think this trend analysis is like more of a case study rather than just understanding trends in about the data set. So let's continue with the course. Let us continue with this report design in Power BI. So we just focus on this progressive disclosure today. I just continue from this course actually. So we'll just start afresh from the first chapter of the course, so you can have a better understanding of what progressive disclosure means. So I'll just start from this progressive disclosure. So we're starting from this chapter 1 of this report design in Power BI today. Then we move to all this. Okay. Just make use of my headset real quick here.
Welcome to this course on report design in Power BI. In this course, you'll learn about the principles of progressive disclosure, how to customize the view, and designing for mobile. For this course, we'll be continuing with the dataset and reports created in our Reports in Power BI course. We highly recommend taking this course as a prerequisite. So, what is progressive disclosure? Progressive disclosure lays out information across several screens, allowing users to perform actions as part of a sequence rather than all at once. This prevents users from being overwhelmed with data, providing them a more curated experience of the data and telling a coherent story. Our report should start with high level, abstract concepts like totals and aggregates. Then, as people are interested in learning more about a particular topic, they take an action to obtain that specific information. In short, we show specific information only when requested. In the Reports in Power BI course, we worked primarily in a dashboard paradigm. Although we can filter, scroll, and drill through to other pages, we still try to make everything readily visible to users. Progressive disclosure, meanwhile, embraces the idea of hiding information until we need it. This makes our flow look and behave more like a web application and less like a dashboard. It also helps us take our users through a journey. They still have control to choose their own adventure, but we make sure that their choices will make sense and not overwhelm them with data. We can implement progressive disclosure in Power BI using a few key components. First, bookmarks show different states of our report. The selection pane will allow us to show and hide visuals in those various states. Users could navigate via bookmark, but we will use buttons to make it obvious how they can transition from one state to the next. This is especially important if you have several states and want to provide a logical flow between them. The big trick is to have bookmarks only control selected visuals. That way, we can control different screen elements independently. So if I show or hide the departments table, it does not change which chart I have visible at the bottom of the report. Our end state is a report which gives users even more control. It's almost like a choose your own adventure story with the data as we guide them through the story and show them the places where they can make key decisions. This idea is quite different from a dashboard, in which we want to display relevant business metrics in an easy to understand fashion. When building a dashboard, we want to avoid making users click, drag, scroll, or otherwise manipulate the screen to get the information they need. With this report, higher user interaction to make the best use of our report. This is also different from a pixel perfect report like Power BI. Paginated reports are intended for printing, so they display all of the information up front. You can use parameters in paginated reports to display different subsets of information, but ultimately the intent is static display of information. Let's wrap up with a couple of quick notes. First, any filters based on a visual will disappear once we hide that visual. For example, if we select a department and then hide the department's table, our other visuals will reset to having no filter on the department. Also, if you are concerned about the performance of so many visuals, that's generally not a problem because hidden visuals don't affect performance. Now that we know a bit more about the concept, let's apply that knowledge in some exercises.
Oh, that's quite highly technical. A lot of information to digest. Okay, and that is coming up. Wait a minute. Okay. So we need to answer these questions. It says progressive disclosure requirements. So in order to implement progressive disclosure in Power BI, there are a few things we will need to do. Which of the following things we find necessary for progressive disclosure and which are not? I think understanding progressive disclosure is quite tricky. You need to know that drag each of the feature into the correct category. Selection pane is necessary. You use it to hide and unhide some features. Or paginated reports not necessary. This for printing out the reports. Buttons necessary. Custom visual not necessary. You don't need custom visuals. Bookmarks necessary. Drill through. You definitely want to drill through. Let's see. Drill through. Drill through is not necessary, eh? Yeah. So drill through is not necessary. Except you want to drill to the next page of your report. That's what we need data. So the three most important things: selection pane, buttons, or bookmarks, to make your reports behave more like a website rather than a dashboard or a paginated report. Okay, so let's continue. Let's see an example in action. Then we have to practice our own.
Our overview page is a bit messy, so let's use progressive disclosure to improve it. First, we're going to remove the bookmark. Then, we'll shift the Inspection Report button and Inspector chart down and move the Q&A to the top right, shrinking the visual a little bit to make room for a button. That button will read Show Q&A, which we'll edit in the Style menu of the Format pane. In the Selection pane, I'll rename the button to Show Q&A as well. Now let's copy and paste that button so that it overlaps. I'll call this one Hide Q&A in the Format menu and on the Selection pane. To wire up these buttons, I need to create bookmarks. First, let me hide the Hide button as well as the Q&A visual itself using the eye icon in the Selection menu. Then I'll open the Bookmarks pane in the View ribbon menu and add a new bookmark called Q&A Hidden. Right now, that bookmark keeps track of the state of all visuals, not just our Q&A visuals. To limit its scope, we'll need to select each of the Q&A elements by control-clicking them. Then, hit the ellipsis on the bookmark and switch the bookmark to track only the selected visuals. After that, we will select the ellipsis again and update the bookmark to save those settings. Now let's reverse visibility, hiding the Show button and revealing the other two elements. We'll add another bookmark called Q&A Visible. Then we'll repeat.
So for this, it is hiding the Show Q&A button. Okay. And created a bookmark called Q&A Visible. So the other two are not selected. So, but if you notice, they're actually selected here. Wait a minute. I need to understand that process.
Elements. We'll add another bookmark called Q&A Visible. Then we'll repeat the process. Control-click each Q&A element in the Selection pane, change the bookmark to care about just the selected visual element.
Before I actually use the bookmark on the Q&A button, while it was creating it, the bookmark for the Show Q&A is not selected. But since you need to update it to the bookmark, Q&A Visible bookmark, you have to select the three elements. Okay. But we just have to practice it on our own.
And we'll repeat the process. Control-click each Q&A element in the Selection pane, change the bookmark to care about just the selected visual elements, and update the bookmark. With those actions in place, we can select the Hide Q&A button, enable an action, set the type to bookmark, and choose the Q&A Hidden bookmark. Note that if we select the Show Q&A button, no formatting options are available. Hidden visuals aren't editable. It's almost like they don't exist until they're visible. Instead, let's test the Hide Q&A button by control-clicking it. We can see that it does work, and now our Show Q&A button is visible. Let's enable an action for the button and wire it up to the Q&A visible bookmark. Test this button, and yes, we can see how users can show and hide this pane. Now, on Overview 2, let's do something with the other three visuals. We can see one button and one arrow per visual, and the visuals overlap. To simplify things, I've put related visuals in groups. The buttons will stay outside those groups so that they always remain visible. Our process is quite similar to what we did with Q&A. If we want the inspections group to show, we first hide the other two groups. Then we add a bookmark called Inspections Visible. We highlight the three groups, change the bookmark to work with only the selected visuals, and update the bookmark to complete the process. We'll do the same for inspections over time by first making the Over Time group visible and hiding the other two. Then create a new bookmark called Over Time Visible. Select all three groups, handle just the selected visuals, and update the bookmark. Naturally, same thing for the inspector's visual as well. With that sorted, we can wire up each button, starting with inspections. The process will be the same for each button. Turn on the action, change the type to bookmark, and select the appropriate bookmark from the list. Once we're done, we can control-click a button and see each of the visuals appear. We can also see that drill through still works just like before. We can't use hidden visuals to cross-filter visuals on screen, so save this style for independent visuals you don't expect to cross-filter. And with that, we have implemented progressive disclosure, saving a lot of screen real estate in the process. Now it's your turn to try it out.
Oh, that's pretty cool and tricky. You have to know when to hide and when to show. So let's give this a shot and pay attention to how it's done. So we have three challenges to complete. So probably if you don't get it, we have to go back and forth, You may not easily get it the first time, so you have to go back and forth. You watch the video, try again, you watch the video and try again. So let's see the challenge we need to complete this time around. That is still loading. Let's see. Okay. I'll just open the file here. So we have to open the first file. That is coming up. So let's read the instruction and try to implement hide Q&A, show Q&A technique. So the context is budget versus expenditures over time. Oh, sorry about that. So it says the Wake County Watchdog team is excited about shifting our over budget reports from a dashboard-like experience toward progressive disclosure. They have given us one more data request to add to the report. They would like to see the amount spent on dates for the fiscal year versus the total budgeted amount. So providing us a view of when department tend to run out of money or go over budget. So their design staff has started some of the work on progressive disclosure and would like you to continue the job. So let's see, say load the Power BI visual, PD visual, or .pbix. We've actually loaded the visual here. So I'll just make it a little bit bigger. Okay, let's see. So we loaded the visual here while that is coming up. So we have four report pages there. That's loading though. So let's continue reading the instruction. So from the exercise folder on the desktop, so review the key changes in the report, a modified over budget page with new visual elements, existing bookmarks removed, canvas size change, and a new table to manage measures called measures. So let's take a quick peep at it. Okay, we have a new design here. So we have budgeted visual. So this chart is budgets versus actual funds, budget versus actual by funds. Okay, so we have budgeted and we have two calculations showing here. That is the budgeted amount versus the actual amount. You have a table here. You have a card visual here. You have a new table called measures here. Okay, so interesting. So there has been some changes. We could see that. So create a new measure called total budgeted amount. So to create a new measure, so I'll call this total budgeted amounts. So I'll just go to the measures table here real quick. I click on it, new measure. So I'm going to call this measure total budgeted amount, which is going to be equal to, so let's read the instruction. It said it should calculate the sum of expenditures budgeted amounts. So we're going to calculate the sum of the budgeted amounts column from the expenditure table. That will be a calculate function, definitely calculates. So calculate, the expression is going to be sum a column from the expenditure table. Use the budgeted amounts column from the expenditure table. So I'm just going to close that bracket. So the filtering criteria is going to be, let's see, my filter. So my filter element is going to be, let's look at the filtering criteria. It says filtered on all recorded dates elements whose date is less than or equal to the maximum. So we're going to filter on all recorded dates elements whose dates. So the recorded dates column, the recorded dates table on whose element, whose dates. So a date from the recorded dates table. That means you have a dates column. There's a table here called recorded dates. So the dates column, is going to be so our filter is going to be recorded dates. So recorded dates. So this is the recorded dates table. The dates column. So that is my filtering criteria. Recorded dates table is going to be where filtered on recorded date element whose date is less than or equal. It has to be less than or equal to the maximum of the expenditures recorded dates. Okay, less than. So I have to call on the less than of the maximum of the expenditure recorded dates. So let me just call on the expenditure table. Hold up. Expenditure recorded dates. So I have to go to the expenditure. Oh, I'm not going to the right table here. There's going to be maximum. So that's the maximum. I forgot the maximum. So it says I'll be filtering this actual amounts for the recorded date, which is the maximum of the expenditure table. Okay. Now I was missing a step in my calculation there. I think this is the recorded date table here. So it's going to be the maximum from this recorded date table for that calculation to work. Now let's log that in. So this should give us, so we don't have any error. So we're simply calculating this budgeted amount for the maximum of this date here. It's just like a simple calculation. So it's going to look for the maximum dates in this recorded expenditure table and look for dates that are less than this maximum date and just calculate the budgeted amount for those dates. It's as simple as that. So we need to so we now need to format it as a currency. I'm not going to, since the measure is still selected there, I'll just click on the currency icon here. So it will be formatted as a currency. So that's how simple that calculation is. So we move to the next instruction. So create a new measure called actual amount spent. It should calculate the sum of the expenditures actual amounts filtered on all recorded dates elements whose date is less than or equal to the maximum. So we are actually doing same calculation, but for the actual amount rather than the budgeted amount. So what I'm going to do is quite simple. I'll select my previous measure, select all, copy it, create a new measure real quick, new one, and just paste that measure. Then I'm going to change it to total, just change it to amount spent. Just change it to amount spent. Since I'm just going to change a couple of column there, going to be amount spent. So instead of expenditures budget, I'm going to be expenditures amount spent, the amount column. So the actual amount column. So I'm going to be making use of same maximum date. You can see actual amount, actual amount. So I'm going to log that in, then format it as a currency also. I think we are good to go. Then moving on to the next instruction, it says create an area chart visual which displays budgeted amounts and actual amounts in that order. So we're going to create an area chart visual. So let's drop in an area chart from the canvas here. Area charts. Okay. So our area chart should show the budgeted amounts versus the actual amounts. I'll just add, let me see the instruction one more time. Total budgeted amount and the amount spent in that order. Let's just select budgeted amounts. No, I want it to be displayed on my area charts. I'll just click the button here. It's going to show you like that. And the actual amount or amount spent rather. Let's see. So total budgeted amount and amount spent. You can see the points here. So we need to uh, slice these measures by particular category. So by dates, expand the date hierarchy to see dates by year and month. So we need to slice it by date only. So I'm going to select dates, recorded dates from here. So the date hierarchy, okay. So we're looking at it by dates. Oh, quite a lot of dates here. But for this, we need to only choose the date by year and month. So I'm just going to get rid of the day and the quarter. I want to look at it by year and month, which is better like this. So you can see the budgeted amounts by year and month. Okay. Now the next instruction now says, place this chart over the budgeted versus actuals by font. So I'm going to place it over this little chart here. Okay. So I think we're going to hide and show it. Okay. And this is better. So we have two charts above one another. So we're going to show it over using some buttons there. I guess so. Now, if I select it, so I should be able to filter, drill down, and so this is by year, by months, you can see by months and year. Okay, so let's leave that by the way. We are getting there. So place it, okay, body versus actual amounts, visual at the bottom of the page, overlapping as closely as you can make it. So we've done that. So Change the title of the new visual to expenditures versus budgeted over time. Okay, expenditures. So I'm going to change the title. So I'm going to click on the format pane here. The title is going to be changed to expenditures versus budget over time. So that's the amount expended versus budget over time. So that's what we need to name it with. Expenditures versus budget over time. So we named it correctly. So the questioner says one more time that we should hide the X and Y titles. Okay, let's hide the X. We want to hide the titles, which is total budget and the year. So I just go to the X axis and hide the title right there. Then the Y axis also, and switch off the title. We just have plain numbers at the edges there. Okay, same thing here. I think we are good to go. I'll just save that really quick. Then it now says the capital area workforce development department went over budget for the fiscal year 2019. So in which month did they officially go over budget? So we're going to select the capital area workforce development department. So we're going to look for this department, capital. Oh, let me just follow this. This is the capital workforce. So if I click on it, so it's going to filter the whole visual. This is the amount over budgets. So it's asking that which months so went over budget for the fiscal year. So they were over budget for the fiscal year 2019 based on the filter on this page. It is asking what year did they actually go over budget? In which month did they officially go over budget? So the months. So I'm going to filter down to months. This is by year. So this is by months. Okay. Can we see the months there? So the blue, this our line chart here, this area chart here is the total budget. Then the amount spent. So they went over budget in April. Can see that the total budget is 5.7 million, as you can see on the tooltip there. And then the amount that they actually spent was 5.9 million. So they went over budget starting from April, yeah. April, then so they started going over budget from April, then April, May, and so on. So the first month is April. Let's look that in April. Yeah, that's right. With this view, we can see how far over budget department went or under they remained. So you can see they went over budget in April, they went under budget in October. Yeah. So that's interesting. You can drill up by year. So I think by month is better. By year and months. Okay. They can do by month and year. You can see the months with the highest budget. So that's it there. Let's move on to the next challenge. So this one is not saying show an I department. So we want to use the show feature. So let's see how we can do this without making any mistake. Okay. It says one element of progressive disclosure we incorporate involves hiding information we do not need. In this case, we will use a pair of buttons to perform this operation. One button will show the department's table and the other will hide it. So we have the department table here. So we want to create a button to show the department table and a button to hide the department table. Okay, let's see how we can do that. So to reduce confusion, we only have one button visible at a time. Okay, so if the department table is visible, the button to hide the table will be visible. Okay, if the department table is visible, there'll be a button above the department table telling us to hide department table, but the button to show the table will be hidden. Okay, okay, now let's continue. So create a blank button and place it in the gap between the title box and the box containing department table. Okay, let's create a blank table. A blank. So to create a what? A blank button. Let's create a blank. I think that should be in the insert option here. So blank button. So we have a blank button here. There's no much real estate here. So let's provide some spaces. I think this is a little bit better. You can just place it here, or wherever I want to place it. I think it should be somewhere here. I think that's better there. I can create some spaces here a little bit for it. And this is better. Yeah, I think this is better there. So our button is there. So the next instruction now says add button text which reads show department. So I'm going to click on the button and go to the to start building, select requires data. No, no, no. We are not building. We want to format the button. Come on, where's my let me add the visual pane. Go to the format pane. So the title should be the first title should be show department, right? Show department. Show departs. Show department. Oh, it's kind of small. Let's make it big. Okay, I think it's better. Why is it showing like this? The button is not. Let me add the blank button again. Okay. Then the title should be. Let's give it a title. Show departments. Why is it having like a shadow there? But that is by the way, though. Why is it having like a box here? Oh, something is wrong somewhere. But that is the title. Oh, that is the title of the box, not the contents. Okay, okay. Let's see that. Add title visual. Okay, I think I'm doing it wrongly. Hold on. Add text. I'm supposed to add a text, not title. So I'm adding a title rather than a text. Let me switch off the title there. It should be a text, not a title. Okay, let's see. Okay, where will I add this? So it should be the text here. So it should be under button style. It should be the text. The text should be show departments or better. show departments. So you could just make it, I kind of like it in the center here. Or it could be actually be anywhere though. It could be here. Let's give the text some boldness and increase the font a little bit. This is better. So designing is not pretty easy. You just have to try different stuff. I think it's better now. So show departments. We've added it to the text, to the button style. So it now says, then open the selection pane and name this button show departments. Okay. Now we need to open the selection pane. Now selecting the button. So I'm going to click on view, then selection pane. So you can see the selection pane. Button is selected. We're just showing button normally. All I have to do is just rename it. It's going to be show departments. Okay, we've named it show departments. You can see if I click on it, the button is going to be selected automatically. You can see that. Okay. Now let's continue following the instruction. So the next instruction now says we have like 7 steps to go. Create a blank button and place it on top of the show department button. This button should read I departments in the selection pane. So I'm going to do the same thing again. But what I'm going to do is just copy and view. I'm going to place it above it, just like that. So this is going to be I departments. Going to be I departments. I departments. I see if I click on show, it is under. If I click on hide, it is above. So I need to go back to format the hide, the button style. The text is going to be I departments. I departments. You can see that. So the one up below is show. If I click on this hide button, as you are seeing show there. If I click on this show button, it is under it. So one is above, one is below. Quite straightforward there. Okay, now it says in the selection pane, ensure that department group and I department button are visible. Then hide the show department button. So in the selection pane, let's go back to the selection pane real quick. We have to do this easily so we can get it. So in the selection pane, ensure that department group and I department button is visual. Department group, I have a department group here. So this is a group here that is containing our button, our breakdown text, and the table. So we have to ensure that the department group and I department buttons are visible. Then hide the show department button. So I'm going to hide the show departments, but these both departments and I department are visible. Okay. So we've done that. So this is visible. Show departments, which is under it. If I click on it, as it is hidden already. So this is hidden. This is visible. Department is visible. So what I want to do is just reorder. Let me reorder it. I can bring forward here. Yes, I want it to be like that. So I can so that I can see the 3 stuff I am working with here. So the department is visible. The I department is visible, but the show department is hidden. Now following the instruction, So add a bookmark called department showing. So I'm going to add a bookmark. Where's my bookmark pane? So now I'm going to add a bookmark. So immediately this is visible. This show department is hidden. Department is visible. I department and other visuals are visible. I'm going to create a bookmark. Should I be selecting it? Hold on. I think I should be selecting it. I think I should be selecting it. I should be selecting this button. So I'll just use Control. So it's going to make sure that this selected state is the one I'm working with for that bookmark. But I could just add it first, then select those visuals. Let me check how it did it though. Let me just reward the video real quick. Let me see how it was done during the QA parts. Oh, come on. Okay.
Our overview page is a
Honestly, the way he did it there, that it has, okay, the buttons are there. Before,
the hide button, as well as the Q&A visual itself using the eye icon in the selection menu to create bookmarks. First, let me hide the hide button as well as the Q&A visual itself using the eye icon in the selection menu. Then I'll open the bookmarks pane in the view ribbon menu and add a new bookmark called Q&A hidden.
oh, okay, so I select it before actually hiding them or creating a bookmark for them. I've just hidden this show department. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to create a bookmark called department showing. So I'm going to add a bookmark right now called department. Sorry about that. Department. So I've added the bookmark showing the departments, but hiding the show departments button. Okay. Ensure that it only updates the show department button, the hide department button, and the department group. Then update the bookmark to save those settings. So since I've created it, I'm going to click, select this, select this, select this. I'm going to say selected visual. Then I'm going to update. That's how it's going to work like that. It says add a bookmark called departments showing. Ensure that it only update the show department button, the I department button, and the department group. Then update the bookmark to save the system. We've done that. So make the show department button visible and hide the I department button and department group. So now we are going to do the same thing, the reverse. So the reverse is going to say we're going to show this, but hide the I department and departments visual. So since we've hidden this, I'm going to create a new bookmark called show departments. So now make the show department button visible and hide the hide department button and the department group. Create another bookmark called department hidden. So I'm going to add another departments. This one is going to be departments, departments hidden. Okay. Now same thing. and have it change only the 3 visuals elements. Update the bookmark to save the setting. So same thing like that. I'm going to hold Control, select this, select this, select this, and tell it to show selected visual. Then update the button. I'm going to update it like that. Okay, now we've not added the action to it, so that's where the tricky part is. The action is not yet added yet. The action is not yet added yet. Let me now follow the next instruction. Add action. Add the action, the add department and show the department button. Add action, the I department and show department button. Each button action should allow a report user to navigate to the appropriate bookmark for that button. Note that you may only change the button when it is visible. Okay. Now, I click on department showing, department hidden. Now I need to be patient on how to show it. Now I have to reward the video one more time.
Our overview page is a bit paste that button so that it overlaps. I'll call this one Hide Q&A in the Format menu and on the selection pane. To wire up these buttons, I need to create bookmarks. First, let me hide the Hide button, as well as the Q&A visual itself, using the eye icon in the selection menu. Then I'll open the Bookmarks pane in the View ribbon menu and add a new bookmark called Q&A Hidden.
Sure, hidden.
Right
Okay.
now, that bookmark keeps track of the state of all visuals, not just our Q&A visuals. To limit its scope, we'll need to select each of the Q&A elements by control-clicking them. Then, hit the ellipsis on the bookmark and switch the bookmark to track only the selected visuals. After that, we will select the ellipsis again and update the bookmark to save those settings. Now let's reverse visibility, hiding the Show button and revealing the other two elements. We'll add another bookmark called Q&A Visible. Then we'll repeat the process. Control-click each Q&A element in the selection pane, change the bookmark to care about just the selected visual elements, and update the bookmark. With those actions in place, we can select the Hide Q&A button, enable an action, set the type to bookmark.
Okay, now I need to select the Hide Q&A button, the enable an action. Let me try to do that. So I click on Hide button. So the action will show. Department hidden, department showing. But let me look at the way you did it there. Hold up. Hide, okay. You can see the Hide button. Now I have to be careful. Which one am I hiding? Which one am I showing? From the bookmark, it's not even selecting anything from the bookmark. The bookmark is neutral. The bookmark is supposed to be neutral. So the bookmark is supposed to be neutral. So the bookmark is just take me to the states that I want to be. Nothing too serious. Okay. Now I'm going to click on hide departments. So the action, I'm going to click on action. Then give that an action. It's going to be bookmark. Then it's going to be hide departments hidden. The states. Now let me now look at that one more time.
And choose the Q&A Hidden bookmark.
Okay.
Note that if we select the Show Q&A button,
Okay, let me now click on show Q&A button. No action will be showing here. Oh, I got it. So if I click on the Q&A button, no action is supposed to be showing. If I click on the Q&A button, there'll be an action for it. When I click on this show button, no action here. Okay, interesting.
No formatting options are available. Hidden visuals aren't editable. It's almost like they don't exist until they're visible.
Visible. Okay.
Instead, let's test the Hide Q&A button by control clicking it. We
Okay.
can see that it does.
So if I click on the hide Q&A button now, hide departments button, control click, then my show department is going to work. I'm going to provide an action for it to work. Oh, interesting.
work, and now our Show Q&A button is visible. Let's enable an action for the button and wire it.
So I'm not going to show an action for the button. So it's going to be a bookmark. Then you can see that side. So an action is going to be bookmark, then department showing bookmark. So if I click on show, if I right click and click on show, then it's going to review that bookmark for me. Interesting. So if I now click on right click and show departments, oh, hold on. Oh, come on. What is the problem? Hide departments. Oh, something is wrong somewhere.
It up to the Q&A visible bookmark. Test this button, and yes, we can see how users can show and hide.
Oh, come on. Mine is not working. So if I click on show departments, the button is being selected. Oh, which action did I select? Department showing. Correct. My department is not showing. If I click on show departments, which is visible here. Oh, look at the those show departments button. My departments are hidden. I must have made a mistake while creating it. My departments, because it is hidden. Now if I say hide departments, now show it. Departments are not showing here. Oh. I must have made a mistake in this my departments button. Oh, come on. That's not fair. Let me see if I can quickly update it to only hold up in a minute. If I click on show departments, see my department is hidden here. If I click on hide departments, it is also hidden here. So my mistake was when I click on show departments, I'm also hiding the departments here. So I'm going to just unhide it here. Then department showing. Select my visual one more time and update it. Let me update this bookmark. Selected visual, update it. I think that was my mistake. Now, if I click on hide department now, control and hide, so it is hidden. So I made a mistake. So I'm saying, so the hide department is supposed to be hiding the hide button and the hide department groups. So I can now right click and click on show departments. Wow. So that was my silly mistake. So you could see the error there. So if I click on the show department button, I'm supposed to be seeing the bookmark. I'm supposed to be seeing the departments, and the show department button is supposed to be hidden, while the hide department button is supposed to be showing. Oh, now I understand my mistake now. So it is working fine now. So that's how to test it. Interesting. Now if I click on Control and Hide, then my department should be hidden. The hide department button should be hidden, but the showing department is supposed to be showing. You got it. Kind of tricky though. If I click Show Departments, interesting. So we nailed it there. That was tricky though, but good practice. So we've done that. And now say select the capital list department, then hide the department table. Okay, select the capital list departments. Let's select the capital list department, capital list departments. We selected it. Select capital list department, then hide the department table. what values appear on the in the amount over budget card. Then let's now hide the department table. Let's now ask that what amounts. It says select the capital list department, then hide the department table. What value appears in the amount over budgeted card? What value appears in the amount over? How do we know the value that appear in the amount over budget card? There are a lot of value that will appear here. Oh, okay. This what value amount on this card rather, or on this card? It should be on this card. This is that is 108 million, 108.36 million. 108.36 million appeared on the amount over budgeted card. So for this year, it's showing 108. That should be in dollars. Nothing. Let me just change my button here real quick. That will be 108.36 is showing on the over budget card. Now this over budget card. 108.36. Should I include the M? Yes, yes. So you are correct. When we hide a visual, any filter it applies to a page also disappears. So when we hide a visual, any filter it applies to a page. So also disappears. If I click on show department now, oh, okay, the filter is not going to, it's not going to get filtered normally when we hide the departments button. Okay, interesting. I think this is a cool trick to use in your Power BI reports where you're trying to, make your visual more interactive. So we know that's interesting. Now to the final, choose between, I think it's the final challenge here. Choose between visuals. We want to create a button to choose, okay. Now we have one last visual here. You can see we have two visual here. This over budgeted amounts, this budget versus actual fund, and this expenditure. So we can actually create a button also to show one visual and hide the other visual. Now I need to get this correctly without having to rewatch the video one more time. Now let's see how we can get this straight up without having to watch the video. So although there are three charts on the page, we can only see one because it overlaps the other two. Instead of squeezing this chart into a small area, we can use progressive disclosure technique and a specific implementation involving buttons and bookmarks to show one chart at a time. So in this exercise, we create the buttons and bookmarks. Unlike the buttons to show and hide departments, we need all three buttons to remain on screen, as the user may wish to navigate between three options. Therefore, we will also need a way of distinguishing which button chart is visible. Okay, so now instead of this idea that we created here, which is show and hide departments or show departments, we want the button to be visible so you can just select the chart you wish to see at a time. Okay, that's interesting. Now let's see. It says create a clustered bar chart visual which displays budgeted amounts and actual amounts in that order by expenditure line item hierarchy. So we have to create another visual on this three visual here. That's interesting. On this other two visual here, I'm trying to place it correctly there. It says create a clustered bar chart. A clustered bar chart. So I don't need my bookmark again. So I just get rid of them. So they were quite useful there. Let me look for my builds. Okay, we want to create a clustered bar charts right here. So our clustered bar charts will be showing the budgeted amount and actual amount in that order. So let's drop in the budgeted amounts. That should be total budgeted amounts. Okay, budgeted amount and actual amount, not the total. So budgeted amounts, let's look for budgeted amounts. Budgeted amounts, where is it? Right here. Actual amounts. Okay. Now I want to break this down by expenditure line item hierarchy. By the expenditure line item hierarchy, which is the expenditure here. With the line item, this line item here. By expenditure type, category, class, and line. Okay. So you can actually drill down to each one that you want. Change the title of the new visual to expenditures by expenditure type. Okay, expenditure line item. Change the title of the new visual to expenditures by expense type. Okay, let's change it from expenditure by expenditure by expense type. Expenditures is in plural. Let me quickly check for I have some important messages because I've actually been online for the past 1 hour. I'm live streaming for the past 1 hour. Let's see. Okay. Just replying to some important messages.